opportunity for first-time high schoolers, first-time parents that haven't experienced what high school is like for your student yet to be able to walk you through that process. So we're certainly glad that you're here with us tonight. It's meant to be an opportunity to take away some of that angst, answer some of your questions, and help you walk through every step of this process. We know, and you're going to meet some folks in a minute around the room, how this is an opportunity that sometimes you're uncertain about. How many of you have attended high school here, like in the southwest suburbs? Just a show of hands, parents. Okay, so a good number. How many of you attended outside of like the Chicagoland area, but still in state? How many of you are out of state? Okay, so we have some parents that are out of state. How many are out of the country? All right, so we have some hands that went to high school out of the country. Good to know, because our intent and our goal, again, is to make sure that you have everything that you need to get through this process. I want you to know, first and foremost, that the adults, the staff that are here to support your student and to support you every step of the way. That's the first thing. Secondly, I want to tell you, because you get to make choices all the time and you make decisions as the parents. I'm talking to the parents right now, or to the adults, the families, and you made an incredible decision by choosing our community. I'm going to tell you a little bit about Andrew High School. Andrew is the third of the schools that were created in District 230. We're the youngest of the schools. Our inception was in 1977. And our founder was a gentleman who believed in being innovative. He was an engineer, a philanthropist as well. With that in mind, you have choices. You could have picked to be anywhere, but you made the best choice. Because at Andrew High School, we value academics. It's very important to us that students do well, and it shows. We are rated top 10% in the state of Illinois. The school report card just came out, and once again, we are an exemplary school. You can Google it, you can go online, check other high schools on the Illinois State Report Card, and you'll see that out of District 230, we are the only exemplary high school, top rated. That's one. Yeah, that deserves a clap. Secondly, we were just rated Southland's best high school, so we beat all the high schools in the area as the best high school. Correct. And that's not it. So you're thinking, okay, Dr. Othman here, she's going to tell us about how great they are. We're not going to tell you tonight, we're going to show you. We're going to give you the opportunity to walk through and see all of it. See the students, see our staff, see the administration. And the one other great thing about us that I really am proud to brag about is our family. When we talk about being a T-Bowl, and now that you are coming into this future T-Bowl, you are now part of our family. We work very hard on not only being academically strong, but about taking care of each other. Kindness is a word we use with each other, we use with the students, we use with our parents, and we do it every single day. We're about equity and equality. We want everyone to belong. And I don't just mean like words that are out there, jargony, belong. No, we do things to make sure students fit in and feel that this is a family and that this is their school. As you embark on this journey, tonight is the first step of that process to show you, for you to experience it yourself, for you to feel it, and then for you to ask us any questions that you might have as we roll through this process. With me tonight are some folks I want to introduce to you around the room. There are some administrators. I see Mr. Dalton. You're going to meet him. He's assistant principal here. Mr. Nolan, our associate principal, who's going to come up next. Dr. Kelly Ladiak, I think she was at the door helping check you in. There's also other administrators around the room. Again, welcome to Andrew High School. You are here because you brought us the best. We are going to give you the best, and we're simply the best all together. Congratulations on beginning your 8th grade future T-Bowl journey. At this time, I'm going to give it to Mr. Nolan to get us started.
Good evening and welcome to our future T-Bolts. I cannot believe I type like the class of whatever every year, and when I put 2028 in there, I'm just kind of like, oh my God, you know. So welcome to the class of 2028. I was sitting where you're at. I have two teenagers at home. One is a junior and one is in college now, and I can tell you that I remember clearly them being freshmen in high school and all the emotions that came along with that, how ready I was to have them move on to high school, how exciting that was. But also kind of recollecting and thinking about how fast it went before they got into high school. And then I always tell parents, people are going to tell you high school goes like the blink of an eye, and it really does. My son's a junior now, and I can't believe that. And so it's going to go fast. My promise to you, starting tonight and moving forward, is that Andrew High School is going to take every step possible to make the transition to high school an easy one, a healthy one, an exciting one, and one that's not confusing. One where you have the answers that you need, you have all of the materials, things make sense to you, and kind of like teachers do, we chunk the test. We're going to kind of give you what you need when you need it, so that we don't overwhelm you with lots of information. And so one of the rules we have here at Andrew is to ask lots of questions, to please don't hesitate to call us, stop any one of us when you see us, email us, however you can get in touch with us, to please ask those questions so that we can make sure that every single family and every single student that's a member of the class of 2028 feels ready for Andrew and excited for Andrew. We have a presentation tonight that I creatively call VJA 101. The genesis behind this is we've been doing this for a long time. We've had kind of a list of questions that have been asked of us over the years, and we finally decided to just put 15 of the most asked questions into a presentation and just try to answer them all at once, okay? I don't want you to get overwhelmed by this, but we're going to have 15 different topics. One great place, if you haven't been there yet, is the Class of 2028 website. Our guidance department has this as part of their page. They'll put information on there as we go along, so if you're not sure about an upcoming event or how something's supposed to work, that's a great first place to check. If you're not finding it there, please call our guidance department or even the main school switchboard, and we'll get those questions answered. There's a cheat sheet in your folder. You don't need to pull it out now, but we give this to you as it has the same 15 topics that we're going to go over tonight, so that if you leave here wondering what did he say about that thing or what did they say about that other thing, you kind of have it on paper in front of you. It's just a cheat sheet. It's in your folder. You can look at that, get a little bit more information than what we're going to probably provide to you tonight, but that's there for you. The other thing that people tell us with presentations, particularly students, the feedback we get is that people really like to hear from our students more than our adults. I don't take that personally because I like to hear the student perspective as well. And so tonight I have two of our very best. I'm going to bring them to the stage. Please welcome Sia Stamus and Anthony Lulo. Sia and Anthony are uber involved, but more than that, they just represent Andrew in such a great way. They're welcoming, they're friendly, they go out of their way for students they know and don't know. They really embody what it means to be a T-Bolt, and so I'm happy to have them here tonight. We're going to go one topic at a time, starting with transportation. And Sia and Anthony are going to give us a little bit of the student perspective on each of these topics. I will chime in because I can't help myself to give like the administrative stuff around these topics. I apologize. And at the end of the presentation, we will stay behind to answer any questions that you have about any of these topics that come up that you want to know today, or maybe there's things that we didn't mention that you want to ask us about. So why don't we get started? So here to start to tell us a little bit about transportation, Sia is going to get us kicked off.
Hi everyone. So for transportation, it's important to note that buses are available for everyone, but most freshmen do take the buses. You can also walk or get dropped off or picked up by car. All car drop-off and pickup will happen where you walked in tonight at Main South, and then at the north part of the building is where all the buses drops off and picks up will be. In order to go on the buses, you have to show your ID, so a little helpful tip is to take a picture of ID so that way you constantly have it. Any transportation-related questions, please ask the Dean's office.
Bus routes come out as part of the Skyward process when you enroll in school and you start getting all this emails and whatnot. You'll be assigned to a bus route. It'll clearly tell you where that bus route is going to pick up and what time the pickup is. That comes a little bit later because we're not able to fully designate routes until we have all students registered. So if you're not getting that right away, just be patient. It's one of the last things that we're able to send to parents. All right, Anthony, why don't you tell us about a typical schedule?
So a typical schedule here at Andrew includes 6 academic classes, 1 lunch period and study hall period, and then 1 30-minute period we call table time. Most days start at 8 o'clock, and you have to be in class by 8, and then your classes will end, all 8 of them, at 3 o'clock. For sample schedules, they are online in the Class of 2028 website, if you want to look at those to see like how they're mapped out and how like the different periods are looked at.
Also, there's a hard copy of sample schedules in your folder tonight. There's probably 9 or 10 different like student profiles of just students that are taking different classes. They help you to understand kind of the graduation requirements, what a typical freshman, all the examples are for freshmen. So those will kind of show you what typical freshman schedules look like.
So late start Wednesdays are my favorite day of the week by far because unlike a typical schedule, late start Wednesdays, you start at 9:30 a.m. And for late start Wednesdays, you don't have 0 hour or T-ball time, which we'll get into later in the presentation. But it's important to remember that we still end at 3 o'clock. And buses are still available for late start Wednesdays. They just come an hour later than your typical route schedule.
Anything to add? Also, keep in mind that late start Wednesdays are most Wednesdays. They're not every single Wednesday. If we have a Wednesday that's not going to be a late start, we'll be sure to communicate with you. That happens with things like testing days and other kind of special events that might be happening. Probably 2 or 3 a year that are not actual late start Wednesdays. If you don't hear from us, you can assume it is a late start Wednesday. I will tell parents, it's interesting, but students are late to school the most on late start Wednesdays. It kind of blows my mind a little bit, but I'm over it. Basically, students have a little more time to get ready. They'll run to Dunkin' Donuts, get a coffee or a drink. And so they're a little bit more leisurely getting to school. So we could always use your help to make sure that students are getting to school on time every day. But don't assume that because it's a late start, they're going to be on time. We need your help even more on those days, ironically enough.
Okay, so 0 hour. I've taken 0 hour all 4 years of my high school career, and this is why late start Wednesdays are my favorite, because 0 hour starts before your typical schedule, so we start at 7 a.m., which is really early. But I think it's worth it because you can fit in another class in your typical schedule. So if you take a class for 0 hour, you can fit in an elective in your typical schedule.
Anthony, have you ever taken a late start? Why don't you tell them why?
I have never taken a 0 hour. I just want to say that. As a high schooler, I like to sleep in, even on late start Wednesdays. I am one of the people that sometimes comes in late. Okay, but I just like to sleep a little more. You can still get all your classes in if you don't take a 0 hour. You just do get more extra time to take like a fun class, I guess. But as someone who likes to sleep in, 0 hour is not for me.
Yeah, and that's perfectly fine, right? So I used to register freshmen for their classes, and I would say 60% of the families that I would register would ask me about late start. They'd be kind of on the fence. And I would always say, you know, are you a morning person? Are you up anyways? Do you like to get up early? Are you fighting your alarm clock, right? If you have a student that's like that and they're just naturally up, I don't. I'm not like that, and my kids aren't like that. But if you have a student that's like that, it is a great option. But there's more families whose students are not really like that. And so I would say probably 1 in 10 students, maybe a little more than that, takes a 0 hour class. You want to be very discerning about that. You know your sons and daughters better than we do. If they want to take a 0 hour, which I applaud, if they can do that, get up early, and they kind of are the kind that are up and want to tackle the day and maybe fit in another class, it makes good sense to them. If they're not like that, don't take the chance and put them in a situation where you're going to be fighting with them in the morning, or they're maybe not as awake as they might hope to be. So just know that it's available. Not a ton of students take advantage, but we have at least 10 or 12 0-hour classes running each morning. So there's a decent amount. We have probably the most 0-hour PE students, students that will come to 0 hour and take their PE class first thing in the morning, get the blood pumping and exercising, and then they'll be able to roll into kind of the rest of their day with PE kind of behind them for the day. They can change back into their regular clothes. So just buyer beware on 0 hour.
Alrighty, now I'm going to tell you about T-Bowl time, which is going to sound confusing at first, I know, but it is a very important thing and a very important part of your schedule here at Andrew. So we have many different ways you can get support here at Andrew, but I would say T-Bowl time is one of the biggest. So T-Bowl time takes place every second hour, except for Wednesdays. And so on Mondays, you'll have your advisory class, which the best way to think about it is your homeroom. So for all 4 years, you'll go to the same 2 teachers because they usually co-teach together, and it's the same kids. So that is like your main home. Every Monday you go there, and that's where you get like your announcements, and also you'll do maybe like a little activity for like mindfulness or something, or what we're learning about in the month. And it's just a great place to have like a touchstone with a teacher. I feel like in your freshman year, you're like, okay, this is the teacher I know I'll see and I can ask questions to. So that is one of the best places. And then Tuesday, Thursday, and Friday, you have another 30-minute period where you can sign up. You have to sign up for a teacher, and that is where you can get support in like a different class with, like, maybe it's your English teacher you sign up with because you have an essay, or your math teacher because you don't understand a topic fully. And that's where you can go. You can sign up, or you can just sign up to study somewhere, or like I do, I just go sign up with my friends so I can hang out with them for 30 minutes and not have to worry about doing a school day. But yeah, I find it very useful because you can go talk to any teacher you want, and it's 30 minutes to basically just ask questions. And it is the best way to get help through any teacher you are struggling with, or like you just need clearance on like an assignment. So I just feel it's a very important time to have in your schedule.
Anything to add?
Yeah, T-Bowl time, you can also, it's not just for studying. Like, let's just say you finished all your work. I know they just hosted pumpkin carving, which was really fun. My friends went, they enjoyed it. We also have yoga during T-Bowl time, or I've been to trivia. So it's also a place, if you're done with your work, you can have fun with it too.
Nice. The other thing I'll mention about T-Bowl time, it is a little confusing on what happens during second hour on which days, right? So advisories Mondays, and signing up for things is Tuesdays, Thursdays, and Fridays. Wednesdays we don't have T-Bowl time because it's the shortened day. And students have to sign up ahead of time, and so I always ask freshman parents to make a habit of signing up for the entire week's T-Bowl time with their son or daughter on like Saturday morning, right? If they let them sleep in or whatever, but Saturday morning, just get in front of a computer, talk about what their grades are, talk about what opportunities are available to them, and plan for the week. You know, on Monday or on Tuesday, you've got a math review. We're going to sign up for you to go to that math review. On Thursday, you're going to go to your science teacher because you're struggling in science, and on Friday, you're going to go to your English teacher to get help with your essay, right? And so, at least when you're starting out with them, making sure that they sign up for the appropriate things during T-Bowl time is one of the main measures of success as a freshman. I meet with a lot of families whose students are struggling, particularly freshman families, and one of the first questions I ask, or I can even look it up in the computer, is how students are using that T-Bowl time. It is almost always the case that when a student is struggling, I look at their T-Bowl time, they're not going to places that are really going to help them with their academic stuff, right? Some students are still struggling, and we'll talk about how to intervene with them and how to help them and support them. But a lot of students don't use this time wisely until they realize, as they get a little bit older, wow, this is nice. I've got 30 minutes. I might as well make good use of it. The other thing I'll mention is if your student's failing one of our core classes, math, English, science, social studies, Sometimes even with other classes, their teacher might mandate that they go to T-Bolt time with them. So let's just say Anthony was failing math. He's not, but let's just say he was. His teacher might say, hey, Anthony, on Tuesdays from now on, I'm putting you down for my T-Bolt time. Anthony doesn't have a choice about that. He's just to show up at that T-Bolt time every Tuesday until that teacher stops signing him up for it. In that case, the teacher's the one that's signing them up. It's locked in their schedule, and they're required to go there. We try to make sure students know that this isn't, some kind of punishment. It's just a way to make sure that they're getting the help that they need. We fought long and hard 7 years ago to get this 30 minutes into our schedule for this exact reason. So please take advantage of the opportunities, whether they're academic or like Sia talked about some of the stretch opportunities, some of the fun things, and other places that you can go in the building during T-Bolt time. Make sure you're talking to your student about how they use this time. You'll see more information on the program that we use to sign students up and what they'll go on and sign up. Most of them do it on their phone. I would just say please get in a habit of either doing that with them or asking them to show you, even on Sunday, what they're signed up for the rest of the week. Students that aren't signed up, basically they go somewhere they shouldn't be, they get kicked out of there, they get sent down to the deans, and the deans have to decide where they're supposed to go. It's a mess. There's no reason to we have like 20 students that do that daily, not a lot. Just try to make sure that you're starting good habits around T-Bolt time with your freshmen right off the bat.
All right, now we're going to talk about lunch and study hall. So most freshmen will have half an hour of lunch and half an hour of a study hall. So for your lunch period, the biggest thing I can recommend is bringing a lunch to school. We do have a cafeteria here where you can purchase food, but it is better to purchase food once or twice a week and then have your lunch for the rest, because the lines can get long, and with about 30 minutes to eat your food, it's not a lot of time. And I just recommend bringing a lunch and then maybe purchasing something small from the cafeteria when it's like died down a little more. And then our study halls are for another half of that period, and you get sent to a teacher and you're just in the room. The teacher is more just there just to watch the kids, and then while the kids it's usually a silent based on which teacher you have, but you can do your homework or just catch up on other things you need to have done before the end of the school day. I recommend taking advantage of this. I know as a freshman, I did not, and looking back, I could have had a lot less homework throughout my day and could have gotten a lot more done in that period, but I do recommend taking advantage of your study hall. Anything for lunch, I just recommend knowing that the best thing for you to do is if you are buying a lunch, you have to load your money onto your student's ID card, which is on Skyward, and all they have to do then is scan it. And then if you are eligible for the free lunch, you also use your ID card to buy it, but you do not have to load any money onto it.
I don't know. I've never brought a lunch to school, so I just use the cafeteria. I don't go crazy or anything. I usually just get a sandwich. Even as like an underclassman, I use the cafeteria. I feel like, I don't know. I guess I'm a fast eater, but with study hall, I do definitely recommend. What did you like using the time? Yeah, you like using your time wisely during study hall, because I didn't my freshman year and I had a lot of homework too. So my biggest advice would be use your study hall. Don't just go on your phone and text your friends.
The only thing I would add to that is the first few days of school for freshmen in the cafeteria can be a little confusing. Like, where do I go? Who's got healthy options? Who's got pizza? Who's got, it's a lot. And because students are a little confused, the lines are longer and they just take longer to get through the lines. So what I would recommend with lunches is at least for the first week of school to brown bag it, send your student with a lunch, and then as they learn kind of how the place works, then they can start buying a lunch. And as Anthony mentioned, if you qualify for free and reduced, those fees go right on the card so the student can scan their card discreetly without having to worry about other people, knowing that they're on free and reduced. Nothing to be ashamed of, but at least you know that it's all happens on the card. Oops, sorry.
All right, so passing periods. So here at VJA, our passing periods are 6 minutes long, which is a lot of time for you to stop at your locker if you're going to use that, go to the bathroom, fill up your water bottle, even talk to a friend on your way to class. but plenty of time in order to get to class. So I wouldn't worry about the time in between classes.
I know that the VJA building is very big with the 3 floors, and you may be worried that 6 minutes isn't enough to go up and down. Like, because I know my freshman year I had PE, and then I had Spanish on the 3rd floor, and then I go to my 2nd floor class, and then back to 3rd, and then down to 1st. And I know I was very worried about making it class to class on time because of the different floors, but I promise you the 6 minutes is enough. If you are constantly you have to know that if you are going to your locker, you have to maybe not talk to this friend today because they might want to hold you in one spot. But it is a ton of time to get from floor to floor and place to place.
We also have a 5-minute bell, so after 5 minutes in the passing period, kind of like a 1-minute warning bell goes off, so that's kind of a nice thing that students hear that, and they're like, okay, I really got to go now. The other thing I would mention about this is students do worry about how to get around the school to go class to class. We have, for those of you that aren't aware, we have the first day of school is for freshmen only. And the whole purpose of that day is to allow students to figure out where their classes are at, get them comfortable with the cafeteria, let them meet their teachers and hear about some of the school stuff that other upperclassmen already know. But just rest assured that they'll have that whole day to find their way around campus. So don't get too worried about how to find classes. It is a good idea to walk it and kind of have an idea where things are at, but it's nothing to stress over.
All right, now we're going to talk about your Chromebooks and your phones at school. So every student here at VJA will get a Chromebook that is given to you by the school, and it is in your annual fees that you pay every year that you will have your Chromebook so that you get to keep it by the end of the time when you're a senior and you graduate, you get to keep your Chromebook at the end. Your Chromebook should be charged every morning and ready for school. That is one thing I'd recommend, making sure your Chromebook's charged because you use it a ton during class, and if it's dead, you are stuck then, and your teacher kind of doesn't really know what to do with you because they're like, well, you need your Chromebook to do this assignment, so I don't know what you want to do. But yes, so I recommend charging your Chromebook every night, and if you're someone that thinks they're going to use it a ton, it is totally okay to bring your Chromebook charger with you to school because there's tons of outlets in every classroom where you can plug it in, but do have a full charged Chromebook. For your phones, they are totally allowed here at Andrew. You can have your phone on you, and you can use it during passing periods for sure, but in class, it really depends on which teacher you have. I know as freshmen, they're going to give you a lot more stricter rules because I remember being a freshman and I know I use my phone a lot more than I should have. And so teachers are going to be like, they know that. So a lot of the times freshmen will have this thing called phone jails, which sounds really scary, but it is legit just a thing that hangs on the wall. You put your phone in it for the period. You get it back at the end. You can see your phone the whole time, so you don't have to worry about it getting stolen or anything. It's just there so your teacher can teach you for that period, and then you can get it back at the end. But as you go on at Andrew, they get more lenient with how you use your phone, so most teachers will let you hold on to it by junior and senior year, where you can just have it in your pocket, in your backpack, and then by the end of class, if everything's done, you're allowed to use it for free time and just do whatever you want with your phone. But every student here has a phone for most things, so if you're going to do something like sign up for T-Bolt time or just check your grades, it is really good to have your phone on you because it's way faster than pulling out your whole Chromebook, signing into your Chromebook, finding the website, where you can just pull it up on your phone. So I would recommend having a phone with you.
From a personal experience, when I was an underclassman, so my freshman and sophomore year, all my teachers made me put my phone away in those, they called them phone hotels or phone jails or phone cubbies. It kind of sucks at first, but then you realize it's just beneficial because now you're paying attention in class and you're meeting new people that way. So that's my experience with phones.
I'm going to sound like the old man in the room again. I apologize. Please don't text your students during school. That's as candid as I can say it. I can't tell you how many times students get in trouble for texting in class and the message is from their parents, or maybe the student reached out to their parents with a question. Let them know right off the bat. If it's an emergency, of course we understand that. I have kids too. But if it's not an emergency, please do not start the habit of having your student, son or daughter, think that texting you or anyone else during the day is okay. We want them focused on instruction.
So calculators, this will be your new best friend. I've had my calculator since freshman year, and it's great because it makes math so much easier once you become a junior and senior, because math does get harder. And so what you'll need to purchase is a graphing calculator. I purchased a TI-84 CE+. It's a mouthful, but it helps with like solving equations and stuff, and you're just going to need to have a graphing calculator for high school. It's a little expensive, but it's worth the money.
Yeah, the only thing I would add to that is make sure that the calculator has a name clearly written on it. We find they're expensive. We'll find them every once in a while, and we won't have a name on how to return it. Maybe write in Sharpie the student's name and ID number. That way, if it is lost, we can get it back to them. And then, of course, taking care of it and making sure it's not left laying out and stuff. Like I said, they're expensive. You don't want to have to buy more than one. I do see students with trying to use their phone as a calculator, or even their Chromebook for the calculator. It doesn't do half of the things that they're going to be asked to do in their math classes and in some other classes. So please make sure that you buy one of the calculators that's on that list.
So for your PE uniforms, for freshman and sophomore year, you'll be in a freshman and sophomore PE class most likely. And those are the classes that you are mandatory to wear your PE uniform while in the class. You will be given one on your first week of school with a locker or with a lock, and you have to use the Andrew given lock on your lockers just for safety and so that we know that it is your locker and you know the code. And if you forget the code, you can ask a teacher. But your PE uniform is very easy to have. It is just a shirt and shorts, but you can also get a long sleeve and like sweatpants that are additional costs. But you will get these your freshman year, and then if you ever lose something or like just need a new size, you are able to purchase them at the PE office, and they have different sizes, different ways to get them, and they're very reasonable priced. And just keep them with you in your locker and bring them home at the end of the week because you need to clean them. That is one thing I have to say. Please clean your PE uniforms.
And we have students that will say, like, I don't really need to change into this, right? They really do. It's the whole class is wearing PE uniforms. They get a couple minutes at the start of class and a couple minutes at the end of class to go back in the locker room and change back into their clothes and shower if they like. I'll admit most students don't shower, so bring deodorant, and like Anthony said, try to wash the PE uniform pretty regularly.
So for your backpacks here, it is basically with you at all times. So I know that we all get lockers our freshman year, but I know personally I do not use my locker. I would recommend if you have a ton of books to use it, but if you see that you're not bringing a ton of books to every class, I have everything else in my backpack. So make sure freshman year, it might be a little expensive, but get a good backpack that could last you for hopefully 4 years. I know people like break their backpack sometime. I have not. I don't know how they did. I don't know what they're doing to break a backpack. They've done it. But get a good backpack that can carry a lot of stuff, because I know freshman through junior year, you'll be bringing home books and stuff, and you need to be able to carry this. But most students carry everything in their backpack. Every student is wearing a backpack throughout the school day. Not a lot of people put them in their locker, but when people use their locker, they do put the like extra bigger books, like your biology or like your big notebooks that you have to carry around. Like, I know a lot of kids don't want to carry those, but definitely have a backpack and have it be able to hold things in it.
I would add that sometimes it is nice when students put their backpacks away for lunch. It's just one less thing to worry about while you're at lunch, and there's certainly time to do that. I see some freshmen walking around with backpacks that are bigger than the freshmen themselves, right? So it's not great. So just keep in mind, I know there's lots of students that don't use their lockers. There are students that do. And some students can very easily figure out one time during the day or maybe twice during the day where they can run to their locker, swap out some books, and have that backpack not weigh 80 pounds. So as much parents as you can get involved in that conversation, please do. But for the students in the room, just know you've got plenty of time to get to your locker. It's a good habit to use it at least once or twice a day.
So planners and folders, super exciting topic, I know, but it's important here at Andrew because we're very big on executive functioning, which is a big fancy word for just planning and organization skills. So every freshman will receive what's in this photo here, the colored folders with our planner, and you're going to receive that the first day or first week of school. Oh, he's showing them. They're over here.
Vanna White over here.
So all your freshman teachers, or at least all my freshman teachers, made me use this specific organization skill. Once you become an upperclassman, junior, senior, you're free to use whatever organization skills you want, but I know I still use mine. Do you still use yours?
Yeah, I still have all my folders and everything. Like, even if you don't use it for like what they're labeled for, you use your folders. Every year you have to have folders for something, and it's going to be way cheaper if you just take care of these ones and then have them for all 4 years.
Yeah, I use mine too. I got new folders because mine broke, but I use the same organizational skills I learned from freshman year. And then with the agenda, what my teachers did my freshman year and most freshman teachers do is they make you write down the homework and they come around the room and check it just to make sure that you're staying on top of your work, because high school work can be daunting, but if you use the organizational skills that will teach you the first couple weeks of school, you'll be fine.
Yeah, I mentioned that I meet with a lot of families who freshmen are struggling, and I told you that one of the things that they can do better is use that T-Bolt time more wisely. The other thing I notice all the time is when we open their backpack, it looks like a family of squirrels is living in there. So if you have a student like that, we're trying very hard to get them organized right off the bat. Teachers will say in science class, take out your green folder, right? They will say, take out your planner. Here's what you need to write in your planner. So again, freshman parents, when students come home, asking them to see their planner is a very reasonable question. Talk about short-term assignments, long-term assignments, and exams and assessments, right? The more you can kind of help them get organized, the better off they'll be. We will do our absolute best to help them with that as well. Our freshman teachers are especially good at helping students get organized and find ways to prioritize and manage their work so that they can be successful.
All right, so there's many different ways to gain academic support here at Andrew. I'm going to talk about one specific area, which is called the center. The center is very specific and special to Andrew. It's basically a giant room, you'll see it on your tour, and we have student tutors, so that way it's students tutoring students, and you don't have to see a teacher. So if you're scared to talk to your teacher, head over to the center during your study hall is where you'll go, and you can scan in using your ID, which is where you're going to get a lot of things. So the ID is important to make sure you have it on you at all times. You scan in, and then you get assigned a tutor for whatever work you need to work on. It's important to note that if you are failing a class, you get assigned to the center, so making sure you stay on top of your work, and even going to the center to not get assigned is very recommended as well.
One other thing about the center is that there is a testing center in there. So like in the center, then there's another room connected where you can take tests that you've missed. And a lot of teachers will send a test there. And all you have to do is go in during your study hall and scan in, and then you can make up your test there, which is a very helpful tool, because I know it may be hard. You might not have time during like a T-Bolt time because you have to go to your math, but you have an English test that you missed. So it is a great place to go if you need to take a test. In the testing room, it is quiet too, so there's like one teacher and everyone else is usually testing, so it's a very nice place to have. Another support we have here is our T-Bolt time. Again, like I talked about, just sign up so you can have that kind of one-on-one conversation with your teacher just to figure out exactly what work you need to have done, or if you have any questions to get that cleared up. But here at Andrew, we are very, very, we put a big importance on this, because we want our students to be able to have the support they need, and if they feel like they don't have it, they have thousands of ways to get it. So that is one big thing we have here at Andrew.
What I would add is that we have students that are struggling that go to the center. We have students that are excelling and thriving that go to the center. We have students right in the middle that go to the center, right? Those that are thriving a lot of times they're thriving because they're using these resources that are available to them kind of proactively, right, to just make sure that they're on top of things and sharpening their skills. So most students will find out when they start using T-Bolt time and the center in tandem, it's a really powerful combination to help them not only do better in class, but to feel comfortable and confident with the topics that they're working on.
So your counselors here at Andrew, you are assigned one your freshman year, and they stay with you all 4 years. I personally use my counselor a lot for if I'm trying to figure out what classes I should take the next year and the best way to balance my schedule. And then as it comes to later years, you're able to talk to them about college and like what your best decision is to go to, like figure out what you need to graduate, make sure you have all your service hours done, and like help you to just make the best decisions for each year. You are required to talk to your counselor once, at least once, but you can go to them to, if you have any questions about like your classes or like a teacher or your best decision on something that's something you don't understand with your school like schedule. I used my counselor a lot when I was trying to figure out if I needed to switch a class or like what was the best way to switch a class. Like if I was not doing that well in the class and I was like, I can drop this and then you can help me find a way to get a new class. And they are very helpful. They're always there for you if you need them. The best way to find them is to either send them an email or there is a QR code right by their offices where you can set a date to meet with them. And they're very fast at getting back with you and they just want to help you in every way possible.
Also in the same counseling department, you'll probably see it today, where the counselors are at. We also have social workers and other staff interventionists and some really dynamite support staff. So when students are struggling academically, students have a personal issue, they're struggling emotionally, not feeling quite right, looking for resources outside of the building, this is where students can get help in really with anything that has to do with being a teenager. It's hard. So our counselors, our social workers, and all of our staff and our student services team, including our deans, are here to help students navigate high school and make sure that they have a really healthy and positive 4 years. So please encourage your student to use their counselors, social worker, and other members of this team whenever they have questions or concerns.
Co-curriculars. This is my favorite thing, Andrew, my favorite thing to talk about. We have over 70 clubs and activities and over 20 sports, which is just amazing because you're going to be able to find something that's just right for you. Before we get into what we're specifically into, it's important to note that we strongly, highly recommend you join at least one sport or club. It's just a great way to meet new people. I found my best friends through clubs and sports, not through my classes. So I definitely recommend joining co-curriculars.
Yeah. So at Andrew, if you are not able to find something that you want to get involved in after 3 o'clock, I will be surprised because we have so many different opportunities for kids, and we have different clubs coming from everywhere, and kids are the way to start that. So if you're not able to find one, you can start a club. I know Sia has done that, and it is just such an amazing community to be in where you are able to find something you love to do and be able to stay in your school community with people you know that go to school with you that also love that thing. Me personally, I am involved in the pep club here at Andrew. I'm actually the president, and it's such a great club because everyone's involved, everyone's invited, and you are there to help pick out themes for the football game or just go around school and cheer everyone up just because we're here at school and we love our Andrew pride. I also did football for 3 years and volleyball for 2, and being involved in all of these sports helps me make so many relationships with people, and once you have these relationships with people outside of the classroom, you're able to build them stronger in the classroom, I think, because you are just with these people at all times, and that's how you find your best friends. So if you're nervous about like friends in high school, I strongly, strongly, strongly advise you to join something. Anything, there's something for everyone, but yeah.
So like Anthony said earlier, I want to go into a health profession when I'm older, so there wasn't a health professions club, so I started it. So it's just like one option. If you can't find something, then I recommend starting it. I also am in VJA, which I know Anthony is in too, and it's just a great way to also meet people. And I'm also in student council and other leadership things. So that's how I found like my fit at Andrew and how I found all my friends.
Thank you both. In your folder is a little postcard for an event that's coming up in April. That entire event is meant to highlight our activity, athletics, and co-curricular programs. I strongly recommend you join us that night. It's a lot of fun. You get to meet students that are involved in clubs and sports and all the myriad activities that we have going on here at Andrew. We are really fortunate to have these incredible programs. We have over 80% of our freshmen involved in at least one thing. And so please help your freshmen find at least one or two things that they like to get involved in. Dr. Othman always says, find something that you know you like, and then try something that you've never tried before. And I think that's great advice. Also, another way to get involved is to go to things, right? We've got football games, volleyball games, performances, all kinds of events happening throughout the year. Joining clubs and sports is a great way to get involved, but another way to really get the full experience of your school is to go to dances and go to games and go to performances and concerts and all the different events that we have going on. So keep an eye on the website for things that are coming up, and you'll see there's lots and lots going on here on campus. I just want to reinforce that the webpage will have lots of information on there as we kind of move forward. The next question that parents will start asking is a little bit more about course placement. There's a letter in your folder today, talks a little bit about course placement. If you're not seeing that, it's on this website too. Things have shifted a little bit this year on how we place students into their courses, but we'll get much more into that information as the new year comes upon us. Like I said, Anthony and Sia and I will wait around for questions. How about a round of applause for our two amazing students? Bravo. We are excited to have you go on a tour of the building. Mrs. View and all of her student volunteers, some amazing T-Bolts are here tonight to take you out on tours. If you could just stay seated, the students will come to you and they'll be releasing tours by row. Make sure you ask lots of questions while you're out on the tour. Please make yourself at home here at Andrew High School. This is going to be your new home. And welcome to all of our class of 2028 families. Thanks again for being here tonight. Nice work, buddy.
Way back when we started, there was a part of me that knew one day there'd be heartache and I would lose myself to you.